This is the tale of Tammy and the Inky Madonna.
Just be happy with who you are.
This video was sponsored by Skillshare Online Learning Community. This is my friend Tammy George. Isn't she beautiful? The other week I got an email from her. Urgent, she needed my help. I start taking off my earrings. This granny has moves. I get an email back from her. No, don't break a hip. Then she goes on to tell me how she wants to do this picture for her really good friend for Christmas. Sort of like I'm doing Misty. She's got a friend and she really wants to make something special for her. So apparently there is a picture from the Chris Lopez Etsy shop that she wanted to present to her friend. So I told her, oh, don't worry about it. What I'll do is I'll download it for you and then I'll send it to you. Now, everybody loves Chris Lopez. I love Chris Lopez. He's phenomenal. And she sends me a screenshot of the picture. And she goes, go to his Etsy site. Okay. Do you have the URL? No. Just look it up.
Find them.
Okay. He's not listed under Chris Lopez. He's under Chris Lopez, like art studio or something like that. I'll leave the link in the description. And I'm looking at this picture and looking at the download, and I realize Madonna is naked. You want me to send you naked butt pictures of Madonna in the mail? Oh, she didn't know that. So I downloaded the picture for her, and I was going to just ship it right out to her. And she's like, well, how do you think you can do the background? How do you do the gold? Is that hard? And I'm like, oh boy. I'm looking at the picture, and I'm like, this is harder than you think, because it's a pen and ink mixture going back and forth. Do you think I'm going to can get those colors? I'm like, I can figure it out. Oh, and that background, I can figure it out. And she was so excited to give this picture to her friend. I just had to help, because a friend's got to do what a friend's got to do. And a friend's got to do what a friend's got to do for a friend. So that's how we started on this picture. This is what I got. Way different than Chris's picture. So I have to go and now create the clothing. Now, I'm not the greatest at pen and ink. I live in a desert. I don't use pen and ink here, very rarely. So this was new to me. So after watching some videos on YouTube, I got a basic idea, but I needed something more in depth. So what did I do? I turned to Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community you can turn to for real classes anytime. Whatever it is that you want to know, Skillshare has 15,000 courses ready to get into the fine details. This time I turned to Skillshare when I needed a crash course on pen and ink. The teachers provided me with all the tools that I needed to get my project done in a fast, easy learning manner. It's under $10 a month for unlimited premium classes and workshops. And if you want to try your hand at it, there's a link below for 2 months for free. I took 3 different pen and ink classes, one by Yasmina Kreitz, Kieran Dukin, and Bryn Chernoff. My favorite part of the classes was actually getting the paperwork, because in each one of those classes you work with the paperwork, and when the class is finished you get a reference sheet as to the different techniques, and I really found that helpful for when I went back to do my project. I was able to look back exactly what I learned and have the reference that I needed. As I said before, there's a link down below for 2 months free classes if you'd like to try out the service. After I was done with Skillshare, I was now armed with at least knowing sizes of pens, nubs, and I made the decision to go with the Micron mechanical. When you blow up the picture, all these are little circles all joined together to make shapes. So that's what I did. I made little circles, but the pattern. So I sort of eyeballed where they were on here, lined up the lines of where they would be close to it. Now, with this being smaller and this being larger, I had to compensate a little bit for that. And I came close enough that I say I would go with it. And that's where that came in. So now I'm comfortable that I could send her this and send her everything, and she can follow the steps, neaten my stuff up. Now, I used a 0.2 for over here. Where I was going wrong with all here is I was using a 0.5. Now, these lines here, okay, need to be thicker than the lace. So I had to leave some sort of room in there for that so that I can go down, and 0.2 is pretty small. I went through that arsenal of pens that I found, and I did discover that I had a 0.05. So this is a 2. These lines are a 0.05. So here's the difference. And I think that is exactly what we need to do the lace. And when I looked on the blown up picture, the lines go all the way across. So I'm not filling in each one of these boxes. The lines are going this way. Over here, the lines are going this way. Wish me luck. And we got it, or at least a very close facsimile of it. This is up to her, but you can take this. Now I used a 0.2, and if I want to make these a little heavier, I would go with the 0.05 and just darken these up ever so slightly. I played with it for a while, and let me show you what I came up with. Even for the most experienced portrait colorist, skin tones are really hard to do, especially when you want to match a skin tone to an exact picture. The order, now this is important, the order that you put your pencils down is very important. And that's because the predominant color is going to be the upper color. And that is especially important in this, where the work that you want to show off on here is not so much your shading as it is your ink, your pen and ink work. So it's very easy for you to color over if you go too hard your pen. So you're going to use the lightest strokes that you possibly can do. And not only that, the color of the paper. Now, this is the 80-pound Walmart cardstock. I use this for practicing on. The paper that I'm giving to her is heavier, and it's Strathmore Bristol Smooth. The color is different. This is a more gray white, and this is a brighter white. So while mine is a little darker on here, it's because the paper has a little bit more gray color in it. Here is a tip. When you get a new pack of good paper, take one sheet off and cut it up into little squares. These will become your tester sheets so that you don't ruin your good paper, but you could still test on the paper. What I did on here is I matched up the colors that I saw in here to the best of my ability. Experimented with some other things, you know, tweaking it up. And then I figured out the laydown. Now, the laydown on here is going to be officially 50% French gray. Now, remember, the French gray has a little bit of brown in it, and so does this. So there's definitely some French gray in there. And we're going to put it down very lightly. Okay, I'm not trying to destroy the pen and ink. The next color you're going to put down over this is going to be peach beige. And you can definitely see the peach beige in there. In fact, when I put my pencil over it, it's almost an exact match. It's better to go lighter than darker because remember, we're putting black over it. Okay, now there is some shading. It's very, very subtle. If she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't have to. But if you look over here, down here, and up here, it is slightly darker. I chose chocolate as being the shade. And you can very, very, very lightly do your shading with the chocolate. And that would be over the peach beige. So this is definitely a 1, 2, and 3 layer skin tone. So now we have figured out skin tone, ink work, and I'm going to send her the skin tone sheets and a copy of, well, this is the original that I just did. I'm going to send this to her so that she can use this as a guide. She's going to have to do it on her own, but she can use mine as a guide. The next thing we have to figure out on this picture is going to be this background. And luckily, I already figured it out, and it's not that hard. If you look on the computer colors are much brighter. My rendition is going to be brighter. I used a lay down on this, which is also very specific, that you have to do it in the order that I tell you. Now, I started out with a layer of Scarlet Lake, and I created these shapes to match these shapes. They're not hard to do. She can sketch them in. She's a good artist. I'm not leaving a complete newbie. She could do this. I made the shape, and then I put down a layer of Scarlet Lake. This is a very red. Prismacolor does not have that red, so I had to go to Polychromos. Polychromos is got dark red, which was the matching color. So we have Scarlet Lake. Then I did a layer of the dark red. So here are the colors. I did a layer of scarlet. Over the scarlet, I went to my Polychromos, and I did a layer of Polychromos. What I left was the center. I did not put the Polychromos into the center. That's why I left a layer of the Scarlet Lake in there. Okay? Now, when I did the magic marker, I should start talking about how I did the magic marker. I used a Sharpie marker, and I sort of got as much done as I could with the black Sharpie. I'm going to be sending her one of these. Then in the kit, there was also this brush is good for getting into the little details. You can really get in there easily. Then I left a ring of white going around it. Okay, and that's very important, because what you're going to do is you're going to use a Prismacolor black, and you're going to get into it going around. We want to blend this in. The magic marker is not going to blend once you put down that magic marker. That's why you have to have that little bit of white in there. Okay? Then I took Poppy Red. Poppy Red is brighter than the Scarlet Lake and the dark red. And that's what I used to blend up the black Prismacolor with the red of the highlight. And if you keep working at it and get those two colors blended up really nice, what you're going to get is this. And that is the secret to doing this. Now, the only part on this that I really went finished was down here. See how blended this is? And how blended that is? And how nice and rich and dark everything is? Then at the end, what I recommend, because this is marker and it's always going to look like marker, put a layer of black over the marker. It'll go really quickly, because you're not filling in holes with the color. It's already black on black. But you'll get it so that it looks like it's all pencil. And you will get the richest black that you can get. You can see how it's turning nice as I'm doing this. And if you get too dark over there, you can always go back in with your poppy and just lighten it up. Now, if you keep doing it, you'll get it so that you have no hard line. And that's the trick on this. There's no hard line on this. So all it does is going to take time. Then, once you are happy with the way it looks, you're going to go in with a white Prismacolor or a Derwent Chinese white. I'm using my Derwent Chinese white. And you see where this really brightens up right there? You just brighten it up with some white. Adding in that highlight. If it gets to be too bright, okay, if it's too much, and you tone it down with your poppy red. What's really good about the paper that I gave you, it's got plenty of tooth. This paper can take it. And you just keep on going, and it will eventually turn into this. The next colors that I am seeing in her now, her face was very washed out. There wasn't a lot of blended color in it, and that's straight light peach. And it might be a light peach. You might want to add in a little bit of white, and that's for the hands. I would take some artistic liberty and do a better skin job, but if you want to do it the way it was done by Chris Lopez, he didn't get into all of that deep, rich blending on the actual skin. It was pretty flat. Now, as far as the hair goes, the ink on the hair did not come out that great. It's combinations of just blonde, and I will help her figure out the hair. The lips are the same colors. These are the same colors. There's a little bit of mauve in there, but these are things that I know she can handle. That's not the tough stuff. The only other tough thing that's on here is going to be the gold. The gold that's on this picture is not as bright as the gold that's on the computer. It's my printer. So this is not my usual go-to recipe for gold. I really like this recipe. It's a much grayer dull gold than the ones that I usually do. So I changed up the colors, and we've got black. Well, I wrote them down. Cream, goldenrod, chocolate, 70% warm gray, black and white. And all you have to do is follow it around. Going all the way around. These colors will match up perfectly with these colors. The frame will be done. It's actually a pretty easy color. I was surprised. I thought I was going to have a little bit more trouble with it. If you want to lighten it up a bit, add in the white. That's why I put white in here, and I didn't put any white on here yet. And those are the areas where you want it to be really super bright. Just put a layer of white over the top. She should have everything that she needs to do. And that's how you do a picture. I will see you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell for all notifications. For another video just like this one, I recommend this. And I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Keep on coloring.